Shouts out to this brother on TikTok who put together his video explaining how Jesus might have just been an allegory for mushrooms.
It's the same.
Is the story of Jesus Christ based on our ancestors tripping on mushrooms? Believe it or not, there are a lot of religious scholars and historians who believe this exact same theory, that Jesus wasn't an actual person, but a mushroom. Stick around, this rabbit hole goes pretty deep. This theory was popularized by John Marco Allegro's book, The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross. Allegro was an ordained minister who was selected to translate the Dead Sea Scrolls. And through his 14 years of studying, he came up with the conclusion that religion is based on the concept of people tripping on mushrooms. He was able to trace back the origin of Yahshua to a Sumerian translation of a mushroom covered in God's semen. God's semen was considered the rain. When it rained, mushrooms would appear. When people consumed these mushrooms, they started having psychedelic visions. Jesus was the mushroom created from the seed of God. And through his flesh and blood, you can receive the enlightenment of God. The Holy Grail was nothing but a mushroom filled with rainwater. And all this was lost in translation from trying to hide this information from the Romans. It's also noted that the Vatican stopped the rights and publication to his book and destroyed his career and credibility. And this makes me even more curious considering the fact that mushrooms are planted all over the Bible. You just have to know where to look. The book of Exodus talks about the Israelites eating manna. Manna is a derivative of the Aramaic word manhu, which means, what is it? Exodus 16:19, Moses says, "Let no man leave it until morning." And 16:20 follows, "Some of them left it until morning, and it bred worms and stink." Now this sounds exactly like mushrooms that was left in manure that grew worms. Now I may be reaching, but there are many references to mushroom usage in ancient cultures all around the world. Mesoamerican cultures such as the Mayan and Aztec consumed mushrooms in their religious ceremonies. The Aztecs referred to this as Tiananocatl, flesh of the gods. The Rig Veda in Hindu beliefs describes drinking sama to become immortal. There's even a reference to drinking urine, which is the same thing Siberian shamans did to reindeer urine, to bypass the toxins of the Amanita muscaria mushroom that the reindeer consumed. In Hinduism, it is believed that the cow is representative of the divine and should be protected. Cows are considered to be the embodiment of soma. Mushrooms grow from cow manure. I guess that's why people say holy cow, or holy
That's real stretching, real
I don't
reaching.
know. I
But
don't
it
know,
makes
Papa.
sense. But it makes sense.
I
That's how
can
they get you.
say, I can say, being someone who, again, I grew up in a Christian family. I won't say that they were overly religious. Like growing up, I didn't go to church, but everybody in my family is a Christian. Various forms of Christianity, from the Church of Christ to Baptist to Methodist, so on and so forth. Then when I grew up and once I was an adult, I did get super heavy into religion, and I was going to church every Sunday and Bible study every Wednesday, so on and so forth. I've read the entire Bible, so on and so forth. I've been in churches with priests that did the whole little thing and then touched the people, and then they're doing the Holy Ghost and so on and so forth. And then the guy came over and touched me, and I didn't do any of that flopping or anything like that. And I say all that to say that through all of that religious experience I've been through, taking mushrooms was the most religious experience I ever had in my life. Boy, did I become one with the universe. Did like the world not make sense, and I became more happier and enlightened. It was mushrooms.
Yeah.
That might be what they were talking about in the Bible, was mushrooms, the burning bush, and them popping stuff, and seeing, the angel came out from the sky and it had 7 eyes and 18 arms and all that. They were high on mushrooms. I'm just saying, they was tripping on psychedelics. That's what it all was psychedelics.
Yeah, no. Again, I definitely believe that was hard part. Anyway, I'm honestly, to have these visions, to have those, to be hearing them shits. You're telling me that your synesthesia fucking kicked in the crazy effects, right? I can just imagine again the natural senses we would have fucking had. So again, yeah, there's no doubt about that. Again, there's no doubt that this person, such and such existed. But again, at the same time, though, we can only perceive so much, So I can understand why we had to really, again, maybe see a fucking spaceship and be like, oh, it was a fucking bird with wings, that fucking, looked like solid wood but shiny.
Yeah.
Like again.
And and it's one of those things with psychedelics which is just ever interesting, and that's the thing with all psychedelics. So you have mushrooms where certain mushrooms will give you certain trips, and like I said, mine, I had a religious experience. Then you have something like ayahuasca where people
Yeah.
go and they take ayahuasca, and a lot of people have similar visions of seeing like jaguars and seeing a whole bunch of different things, which is very interesting because a lot of it aligns with um Aztec culture, and it's actually interesting because that's a lot of the theory of what happened with the Aztecs is that the Aztecs got super heavy into ayahuasca, and they started tripping a little bit too much, and that's why they started doing sacrifices and all that. And if ayahuasca takes you to another dimension or another plane, and every time someone does ayahuasca, they leave their imprint, if you will, in that reality. That's the reason why when you're high on ayahuasca, you see so many jaguars and all that, because the Aztecs, laid a heavy imprint in that dimension. And then the same thing with DMT. Everyone who's ever done DMT, they're like, yo, you take DMT and you meet these other creatures on the other side, and they're like, oh, hey, welcome, how are you doing, or whatever, and you run into intelligent species high off of DMT. I do honestly wholeheartedly, and that again is the reason why I'm anti-religion, if you will. I think that a lot of this got misinterpreted. And again, I am a believer in a higher power, God, so on and so forth, or whatnot. But I don't think it's in religion. And I do
Right.
think that psychedelics is what opens your mind to get past this dimension and be able to communicate with the other intelligence from the other dimensions or universe or whatever your thing is or whatnot.
Yeah.
God is in the mushrooms. Do mushroom, kids. That's basically what I'm saying. Do mushrooms, kids.